Welcome back to another edition of the Locker Room Report. I'm Brady Beedon, joined every week by head coach Tyrone Wheatley. Coach, to start off, congratulations on the homecoming win over a pretty good Michigan Tech team. Hey, you made the kicks, they didn't. You got the win, had to feel good.
Feels great. Like we were just talking about, it's hard to get wins, right? So you take them when you can.
Let's start with Griffin Milovansky. I mean, he was the difference. He made his kicks, Michigan Tech didn't. How much does special teams help, and how much does it have when you have a operation like you do from snapper to holder to kicker and swing a game like you did last Saturday?
Well, we talked about complimentary football, right? And Griff, and gosh, dog, we put him through so much in practice, and that win, as you saw some of those kicks when he kicked it, and even when they kicked it, that wind caught the ball right in the air. And so he knows when to drive it, how to kick it, how to place it. And that kind of played in our favor because we practice in those conditions. Like I said, we put Griff through a lot of stuff in practice. And he showed up. And like we talked about before, you never rise to the level of the occasion. You just fall to the level of your preparation.
Right.
And his preparation was high, so he fell to it, and he was able to go through it and make those kicks.
After a win, who else played well for you? Who did you think stood out when you went back and saw it on film?
Well, sticking offensively, Kendall really played hard. These are games where on the stat sheets there's nothing sexy, but it's just monotonous, being able to go through those 1, 2, 3, 4-yard gains, and then all of a sudden 5-yard gain. Like we say you never go broke taking a profit. He took a profit in those 2 and 3-yard gains, which put us ahead of the chains in 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, where in previous times we were starting off, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12. He did a great job of staying the course and just taking those hard runs and just making it happen. Eli came back and had a super game for us. He put the ball. Wish we'd have put the ball in some places which would have gave the receivers chances to run after the catch. But nonetheless, we were able to take care of their soft zone and hit the ball where we needed to go. Manny Harris had a great game. Dion had a great game. Our receivers showed up and caught the ball. I mean, they made some tough catches. A couple of balls that was down in the dirt. They went in and dug them out. And Darren King, this guy, I can't say enough about this guy. He comes. He's your prototypical graveyard shift, midnight overtime worker. Hard hat, steel-toe boots. He comes in, he plays. Defensively, once again, our defensive line, let's give it to our defensive line. They all play well. Linebackers, Carl Ware, he turned it on in the second half. He was playing like a man possessed. He made some stops where he was running downhill where where the lineman was kind of getting up on him. He started coming downhill, started shooting the gaps, and he made some incredible tackles.
I think with a few of them, what you talked about, it's something you come back to every week, competitive stamina. And at least for the whole game, it sounds like they had it, and enough to, against the Tech team that's disciplined, hey, you have to be okay taking 4 yards at a time. Like you said, make a profit every play. At the end of the game, you end up on the right side of the scoreboard.
And it comes back to, it's the competitive stamina, but it's also when you play complementary football. Our special teams, with the exception of one where we tried to catch the ball behind the 10, which now put us in a deficit of offense where we got to travel 90 yards to score. But when your special teams put not only your offense in great places to play, your defense, right? So our punt team, we flipped the field a couple of times where they're not playing in the red zone. So our defense now is playing on the 50 and back in our territory. Our offense played well, put together some incredible drives which kept our defense off the field. They're fresh. And we said every week, when our defense is fresh, you see what they can do. They play great football. Then not only that, our defense, when offensively we gave back a couple of three and outs, but our defense went right out there. They had some drives, the whole bend but don't break theory, put the iron rod in the back, stiffen up, and they got the ball back for the offense, right? And even still, we did some things on defense that gave them the ball in red zones, and then some scores. We gave up 2 scores that we shouldn't have given up due to blown coverage. But they didn't come back to, oh, woe, it's me.
Right.
They stiffened up, corrected it, and we came out with the win.
Well, it's great to have the win, but I'm sure the messaging this is the same. Have to get ready for Davenport. Davenport coming in, they're riding high. They have playoff aspirations. They have GLIAC championship aspirations. You're also 1-0 in league play. What can you tell everyone about this Davenport team?
Athletes. Sparky has done a great job of assembling a team of athletic people, right? So they're fast, they're big, and they're competitive. And so, like you say, the aspirations and the hunger and the taste for that GLIAC championship is driving and fueling that team. And so, same as us, right? The same as us. But then the but is they I would say they have a couple of years on us in terms of building that, right? So this is in my first year. No excuses, but they did a good job of building that and putting it together and riding together.
Who's going to have good games, or what position groups are going to have to play well if you want to get your second straight win to open up conference play?
I don't think it's necessarily any particular group. I think we just have to put the game together like we did last week. Different game plan, different team, but you still have to play common football, right? You still have to have your competitive stamina, and we have to limit those mistakes. Because against more athletic teams, those mistakes will hurt you, and it's hard to come back from that. So I don't think it's any one team that has to play perfect or play better. I just think, once again, we go back and put our game plan together where we're playing comprehensive football, competitive stamina, and physical. Because I guarantee you this, no one loves pain. I don't care what type of athlete you are. No one loves pain, and we are going to, and our motive and our job is to go inflict as much pain as possible to see if they can handle it. Excuse me.
Final question is just getting a win, ending up on the right side of the scoreboard, whether it's pretty ugly in between. Is that something that can help the psyche of a team trying to build up to where you want to go, or is that something that people that are in the media kind of put too much on, or can that have a mental effect on a team, just getting a win?
I think it's all of the above. For us, it's always how you look at it, how you perceive it, right? Because the perception is your reality, right? But when you find a way to win, and the things you point out is, we talked about this a little bit earlier as well, it's hard to get these wins. I don't care who you are. It's hard to get these wins. And so when you are in an adverse situation and you find a way to get out of it, so you're talking about the psyche. When you're in these situations and all of a sudden you start, getting to that moment, you can just look to your teammate, you just look at him and say, hey, we've been here before. Come on, let's get out of this thing. But if you haven't been there before and you've never pulled out of it, right, you're just stuck in that hole.
You got that wide-eyed look.
Yeah, you're just stuck there and you're like, what in the world is going on? But if you've been there and you've come through it and you've come out on the other end, you can look at each other and say, hey, man, we know exactly what to do. Let's stay here.
Right.
Keep the competitive stamina. Keep going. Don't panic, right? Because when you panic, you perish, and you get through it. So I think all of the above, right? It does can play on your psyche, but it can play on your psyche in a great way if you learn how to look at it and what to look for in it. Then you're able to come out of it.
Coach, I appreciate it. Good luck against Davenport.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
He's head coach Tyrone Wheatley. I'm Brady Beedon, and you've been listening to the Locker Room Report.